listening to Philosophy Talk. We're talking to Edward Snowden about the ethics of whistleblowing in front of a live audience at Stanford University, and we've got a whole lineup of questions from that live audience. I'll start on that side of the room, and welcome to Philosophy Talk.
Hello, my name is Pega from Palo Alto. I have a general question about whistleblowing. I'm wondering if you think that the intent or the reasons behind the whistleblowing make any difference in the analysis of whether it's ethical or not.
Good question. What do you think of that, Ed? I know you've thought about this one.
It's a really important question, and it really differs from case to case. I do think it's important to consider the intent, and this is one of the chief failures in the laws that are used to prosecute whistleblowers today. For example, I would love, and I have offered to the government on many occasions, to come back and to basically defend myself in court and argue that these disclosures were made in the public interest. Unfortunately, the laws that are used to prosecute whistleblowers prohibit a public interest defense. You're not allowed even to use the word public interest or whistleblowing at trial, which was in the case of Thomas Drake. Instead, they prosecute them as spies, as though they were selling information about like human intelligence sources that gets people executed to foreign governments for their own gain. But even in the context of whistleblowing, there is some degree of separation that occurs there. For example, in the Pentagon Papers case, the famous one of Daniel Ellsberg, he wanted to reveal that the government had extended the Vietnam War on the basis of lies. He wanted to save lives and end a war. Mark Felt, who was behind the famous Watergate disclosures, Deep Throat for Bob Woodward and Bernstein, actually it's theorized now that the chief reason that he came forward was because he was dissatisfied with the fact that he had been passed over for the director of FBI. And so he thought, by making this disclosure and causing a scandal, he could free that chair up again and get a second bite at the apple. However, even though he had bad intent, it served good ends.
Right. Now, I understand that you, from reading and listening to some of your other interviews, that you weren't actually trying to stop this policy, this practice, as much as cause a debate about this practice. And that's part of the reason you handled the leaks the way you did. Am I getting that right?
That is correct. Something that's been overlooked is the fact that I never published a single document on my own. Because I believe that the model, the ideal of American government is actually quite a strong one. I tried to emulate the model of checks and balances by, instead of simply making a unilateral decision that the world must know, I worked with the free press, institutions that everybody trusts, American journalists, to say, let them make the decision about what the public should know, and just in case they had gone too far, or perhaps they had misunderstood a document, allow the government in advance of publication to review the story and simply make sure that there was no egregious harm or threat to life of a story that the journalist had simply missed. And by doing this, by involving multiple parties that had conflicting interests there, we would try to basically serve the public interest in the most generous way while mitigating the most serious risks.